Hey everybody, it's Jason with Heap of Jeep. Gonna work on the Jeep a little bit tonight. There she is already. So I've been getting some really bad driveline vibes recently. Now I know on my old drive shaft that at some point when you're changing U-joints, you're supposed to hit the drive shaft right about there. And it looks like someone nailed it right about there. So there's some big old dents in that drive shaft from someone hitting it with a hammer. I'm guessing they were just out on the trail or whatever. Or maybe they were doing it in their garage and they're just bad with a hammer. Could be either way. But whatever the reason, there's some big dents. So that alone was causing some driveline vibes. And then I think the U-joint that I put in last summer is already going bad. We're going to get under there and take a look. But I'm pretty sure it's going bad. So I got this one. Someone was scrapping out their Jeep and gave me this drive shaft at a really decent price. So gonna take the old one off, put this one on, and before I put it on, I figured these U-joints don't feel bad, but I figure, hey, it's not on yet. Let's just put some new ones on while we're here. So I figured I'd show you how I do it. I just use a vise and a big old hammer, and we'll put some U-joints on this drive shaft. Okay, to get the drive shaft off, after I got it jacked up and some jack stands under the axle and the transmission in neutral, it's just 8mm. Well, just take those off. There's 4 of them. And then once all those bolts are off and these straps come right off, then you can just take a screwdriver or whatever you have handy and just pry that out from the back. And then on the front, depending on which year you have, on the 96 on up, I mean it may have been before 96, but there's no seal on the slip yoke. But I know on the earlier ones there was an actual seal there, and when you pull the drive shaft out, it just slides right out. Then you might lose a little bit of fluid when you do that, so you just might want to have a catch pan handy. Now for mine, depending again on the year, they had different numbers of splines on this output shaft, and I don't know, I'm not sure what year this new drive shaft came from, so I just want to make sure I have the right number of splines, and it looks like I do because it slid right in. So we'll just use this yoke and just replace the U-joints on this one. If it was different, if this didn't want to slide up there because it had the wrong number of splines or whatever, then I could just take the old, I think this is the yoke here, and I could just take the old one off, the old drive shaft, and reuse it on the new drive shaft. But since it all works together, and I think these are balanced together, I'm just gonna reuse the one that is on the new to me drive shaft. So let's go change some U-joints. Okay, so these little clips in the end, you can use, I just use needle nose pliers sometimes if you have a good set of regular pliers, but a screwdriver, or I use this little pick to help lift it up, but it just gets it out of there, and they just look like that, and just slide in and out like that. So after the clips are removed, there's a few different ways to try and get the U-joints out. You can pound it with a hammer. You don't want to hit the drive shaft. That's what was wrong with my old one, because you'll put a big old dent in it. Someone hit it. You could just see where the hammer mark was. But you also don't want to hit it up on these, because these will break. I forgot what these are called. The other way you can do it is if you take your drive shaft and support it like that, you can take a socket that's small enough to fit inside the end cap there on the U-joint and just pound it through that way, and that'll pound the cap out on that side. Or the way that I like to do it is you take a socket that's the same size as that circle there. Now, this cap is not going to fit through that socket. It's too small. But I also don't want to go to a much bigger one just yet. I want to get this moving first. And then after it gets flush, so that that socket won't work anymore, then you can take a bigger socket that will fit over that cap, which doesn't have quite as much holding on to that. I don't know, it just makes me feel better. Probably could have started with this one from the beginning, but that's the way I like to do it. Okay, so once you pound all the U-joints out, you're going to be left with something like this. And then you've got your new U-joint. And these caps come off, and inside the caps are all those little bearings. Hopefully they're showing up on, yeah, you can see them. Those are called needle bearings, and those are what make it possible for these to twist and slide and behave the way they're supposed to. So you don't want to mess those up at all. So when you're putting these on, you just want to be pretty careful. Then you get these new clips, and you want to put those in and get them notched into the little slots that are already there. And you just keep doing that until you're done. And then once all the clips are in, there's a grease fitting. Take some grease and there's already some in the U-joint, but get it pumped in there full, nice and packed full of grease, because hey, the more grease, the longer it'll last, and you still have to check it, but then we can slide it back onto the yoke. Maybe. And you want to make sure that slides pretty good. If it doesn't, you can put a little grease on there, but that one slides pretty good. So my camera died there at the end again. So basically you just do everything in reverse. You put those clips back on. Now I believe it suggests that you replace those clips every time you take your U-joint off, or your drive shaft off. I didn't replace them. I think it'll be fine, but that's how you do it. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe and check out all my other videos. We're on Facebook under Heap of Jeep. We're on the web at heapofjeep.com. We're on Twitter now at Heap of Jeep. So we're growing. Don't forget our big tool giveaway. End of the month is the last day for that. Tell all your friends about it. And I'll see you next time for another Heap of Jeep repair video.